Christine, hold on for a second. What's going on, Gigi? What's going on? Don't act like you don't know. I was rummaging through your room earlier, and guess what I found? Your salary slip. And what about it? You should have seen it. $500? A salary that low? It's honestly embarrassing. Wait, you were rummaging through my room, Gigi? Yes, I was. What of it? You were rummaging through my room? Why would you do that? Well, as your sister-in-law, it's my responsibility to supervise everything, right? My sister-in-law? You're calling yourself my sister-in-law? Who else would I be? This is my family's house, isn't it? And here I am letting you, an outsider, live here with us. It's only natural that I'm the head of the house, right? Look, that house was built 3 years ago as a two-family home, and your family's house was sold a while back. If anyone's the outsider, it's you. You moved in here after the divorce 6 months ago. Don't be ridiculous. My parents and my brother live here. This is my home. You're the outsider, no question about it. Ugh. And on top of that, you've been splitting housework with my brother. Who do you think you are? Well, I'm working too, so I think splitting the housework is only fair. Working on a salary of $500 a month? What are you even saying? 500 may be 500, but that's in euros, not dollars. Huh? What are you talking about? Are you joking? You're seriously a joke. And let's be real, you don't even match up to my brother. He went to a top-tier university and studied abroad. Meanwhile, you're just a high school graduate, right? And on top of that, you're working for a salary of $500 and don't even do the housework properly. Honestly, you're a worthless woman. You should be working harder, you useless thing. Gigi, don't call me by my name so casually. It makes my skin crawl. When someone like you gets too familiar with me, it just lowers my value. Honestly, you are... Anyway, I don't need you around anymore. Don't come back to this house. I have no obligation to feed a parasite like you. I've already called a junk removal service and they've thrown out all your stuff. Wait, you threw all my stuff out? Of course I did. You're garbage, so I had everything thrown out. It's only fitting. What about my books? Did you throw those out too? Those were full of trash. I made sure to toss them first. How could you? What's so surprising? Honestly, you should be grateful. I took out the garbage for you. And by the way, $500? It's starting to seem hilariously funny to me now. I might just post it online. Huh? Wait, you're not really going to post my salary slip online, are you? Of course I am. Everyone deserves a good laugh, right? No, wait, that's too much. Oh, sorry, I already posted it. Now you're the laughingstock of the entire United States. How's it feel to be famous all of a sudden? You should be thanking me for making you famous. You can't just post my salary slip online. That's private information. I don't care about that. Honestly, I'm just relieved that you won't be coming back to this house anymore. It feels like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I've been so annoyed with an outsider wandering around the house. I've always had to put up with your presence here, and frankly, it's been frustrating. Every time I look around, you're just there, getting in the way. And now, finally, I won't have to deal with you anymore. It's such a relief to know that the house will be free of your presence. What's even more frustrating is how you just walk around as if you have any right to be here. You think you're helping with the housework, but I know deep down it's because you have no other choice. You're just here because of your financial situation. And yet you've always tried to act like you belong. You don't. You never did. And now you're paying the price for it. I'm doing everyone a favor by kicking you out. You were never truly a part of this family, and I don't need to pretend anymore. The things you own, gone. The books you've been clinging to, gone. Everything you've left behind is now someone else's problem, not mine. It's funny to think that just a few months ago, you might have thought you were safe here. That this house would be your sanctuary, but no. The moment you started acting like you owned the place, I knew it wouldn't last. And now everything's falling apart for you. Not only have I gotten rid of your stuff, but I've made sure you'll be humiliated online too. It's almost poetic in a way, don't you think? You've been living in this fantasy world, thinking you could get away with anything. But now everyone will know what kind of person you really are. That $500 salary slip is all people need to see to know the truth. So enjoy the fame, because you're never coming back here. And remember, you've got me to thank for it. And don't even try to contact me. I'm done with you. For good. Sorry, Samuel.
What's wrong?
Could you contact the client and let them know that I might not make the deadline?
Got it. I'll contact them right away and let them know, and we can adjust the schedule. But this is really unusual. You've never been late for a deadline before. Are you feeling okay? Is something wrong with your health?
No, my health is fine, but there's been some trouble.
Trouble?
I was kicked out of my house by your sister.
What?
She went into my room without permission and found my payslip. After looking at it, she somehow thought I only made $500 a month. Then she threw all my personal belongings out of the house and told me not to come back.
What the hell?
Right now I'm staying in a hotel, but I also need to figure out the logistics of getting my computer and everything else in order.
Could it be that you've lost your data?
No, I've saved everything to the cloud, so all my important stuff is safe. But I'm so furious right now that it's hard to focus on work. Everything feels like it's falling apart.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's a pretty tough situation to be in.
You know she's always treated me terribly, right? Just showed up at my place out of nowhere, never helping out with the housework, never lifting a finger. She'd always act so superior and look down on me. I tried putting up with it, thinking maybe she was just going through a hard time, especially since she was kicked out after the divorce. I thought maybe that was why she was so emotionally unstable. I figured I'd just be patient and let it slide, but I never expected she'd actually look down on me the whole time.
Wow, that is so messed up. Must be really hard to deal with, especially knowing that all along she was just treating you like that.
It really is, and the worst part is I had no idea that's how she thought of me. I had no idea she thought I was so beneath her. It's like all that kindness I showed her and the patience I tried to give her meant nothing. After all, she goes through my things and makes assumptions about my income and just throws everything away like I'm some kind of trash.
Yeah, that must really hurt. I can't even begin to understand how you must feel.
Oh, I'm fine, really. I'm completely calm about this whole thing. Can you see how calm I am? Your sister's still alive, isn't she? Just sitting there doing nothing of value as always. I'm totally composed, don't you think?
No, you're not calm at all. You're clearly angry, and I can tell that it's hard for you to handle.
Well, that's just the thing. Your sister actually had the audacity to tell me not to address her casually like we were somehow equals. She said that if I acted too familiar with her, my worth would somehow go down. She actually said that to me. Like, what right does she have to say something like that?
Wow, that's pretty messed up of her. I didn't know she would be so controlling. It's like she's trying to manipulate the situation to make herself feel superior.
Exactly, and you know what? I am not going to let her get away with it anymore. I have had enough of it. I have been trying to be patient, but I have reached my limit. I am done being nice about it.
So, what are you planning to do now?
I don't know yet, but I am not going to let her treat me like this anymore. This whole thing makes me so mad I can't even think straight. I was always there for her, always tried to make things work, but now I just feel like everything I did was completely pointless. She's taken advantage of my kindness, and I am done letting her walk all over me.
I understand why you're so angry, but don't do anything rash. You need to think carefully about how you handle this, especially with your parents.
Yeah, you're right. I can't just rush into anything, but that doesn't mean I'll just sit by and let her get away with everything either.
I understand, but to be honest, you've been nothing but kind to her, and she's the one who's been cruel. You don't deserve this.
Thanks for saying that. It's hard to keep perspective when you're in the middle of it, but hearing that helps.
So, what's the plan now? Are you going to talk to her about this, or...?
I don't know. Right now I need to cool down before I say anything. I don't want to make things worse, especially when I'm so angry. But believe me, I'm not going to let her get away with this. I will make sure she knows exactly how wrong she was.
That's the right call. I'm sure you'll figure this out. And hey, just so you know, I've got your back. If you need anything or want to talk about it, I'm here.
Thanks, Samuel. That means a lot to me.
Don't mention it. You've been through enough already. You deserve some peace.
I appreciate that. Honestly, I'm just so tired of the drama. I just want to get back to work and focus on what I need to do. But right now, everything feels like a mess. I don't know how to move forward from this, but I will. I just need some time to think.
Take all the time you need. It's understandable that you need space to process everything. But just know, you don't have to handle this alone.
Thanks, that really helps. Hey, Christine. Huh? What is it? What's wrong? This payslip, it says 50,000 euros? I saw some followers even pointing it out. Is it really true? I told you already, didn't I? That's the truth. I've been doing well for myself. But seriously, what kind of job are you even doing to earn that much? A lot of different things, you know. I write scripts, I write essays, and I have a few ongoing projects with clients in various fields. By the way, your brother is actually my manager. He helps me out with handling negotiations and setting up meetings with clients overseas. He's been really great, and I'm really thankful for his help. Wait, what? Someone like you is working with clients overseas? Someone like me? What exactly do you mean by that? You really don't have any respect for me, do you? Just because you don't understand, it doesn't mean it's impossible. I just can't understand how someone like you make only $500 a month, and on top of that, you're sharing the household chores with my brother. Hold on, that is totally your misunderstanding. You don't know the full story. Just because you see something on the surface doesn't mean you understand the whole picture. So this 50,000 euros is true? It is definitely true. If you really don't believe me, just ask Samuel. He'll confirm everything for you. It's not like I'm hiding anything. Oh, so it's really true. Wow, I see now. I get it now. I really do. Huh. Well then, I guess that means you're acceptable now. Acceptable? What do you mean by that? I mean, as my sister-in-law. If you're really saying all that, then fine. I guess I can let you stay at the house. When are you coming back, by the way? I really want a new handbag. With 50,000 euros, that's about $75,000. What should I even spend all that on? I could buy all the clothes, accessories, and shoes I want. I could even get myself a car. Oh my, why didn't you say something sooner? I feel so dumb for holding back all this time. I could make some serious investments with that kind of money. It's not feeling dumb, you are dumb. Seriously, you're thinking of spending all that on frivolous things? Oh, come on, you don't have to be so bitter. Why not have a bit more confidence in yourself? I understand how you feel, but listen, you've already passed the test to be my sister-in-law, so I think you're good enough for that. I mean, you're really in no position to act like you're above it all, right? You're the one who's a fool here, you know that? Huh? Me? What on earth are you talking about? Sorry to break it to you, but you're not cut out to be my sister-in-law. What? How could you say that? I'm not going to buy you anything, and I'm making you leave the house. No way you're staying here anymore. What? After I accepted you as my sister-in-law? How could you just throw me out like this? Who do you think you are? You're really in no position to look down on me. You mocked my $500 a month, but what about you? What's your situation like? You seem to have no shame in criticizing my income when you have no real job or any income to speak of. Surely you must be earning a fortune, right? Well, my income isn't any of your business. It is my business. Don't try to play it off. I could tell without even asking. You're unemployed, aren't you? No income, nothing. No, I make some money. It's just not a lot. But at least I'm not completely relying on others. So what, are you counting the allowance your parents give you as your income now? That's really what you think counts? Ugh, you're so unfair. Aren't you 30 years old by now? It's really sad that you're still depending on your parents at your age. Shouldn't you be out there building something for yourself? Stop it already. What is your problem? Are you really going to mock me for being unemployed? You don't know what I've been through. You think it's so easy, don't you? I'm not mocking you. I don't judge people based on their income like you seem to do. I'm just pointing out your character. You made fun of me for dividing the housework with Samuel, but you don't do a single thing to help around here. You just sit around the house all day doing nothing, complaining about how everything is unfair. I can't help it. I'm divorced. I have been hurt. I am so hurt. I can't even help out with housework or anything. And you just keep piling on more pain. It's cruel. It's terrible. You're a heartless person. How can you treat me like this when I've been through so much? I've thought the same way about you. That's why I've put up with your arrogance for so long. But, you know, it's been 6 months since your divorce, and wasn't it your own affair that caused it? Why are you still acting like the victim here? You're really making me sick at this point. Well, that's because my husband made me feel so lonely. That's why. It was just a momentary lapse of judgment. I didn't mean for it to happen. It's not like I planned it. A momentary lapse of judgment, huh? You were having an affair with that person for quite a while. Don't act like it was some impulsive decision. You were doing it behind his back, hiding it, and only when it was found out did you try to play the victim. Shut up. Listen, I've decided I'm no longer going to consider you my sister-in-law. Why would you say that? Because it's so obvious. You've treated me horribly all this time, and I just put up with it because I thought you were stressed out from the divorce. But now I realize you were just looking down on me all along, thinking you were better than me because you had your own house, your own income, and everything else. You never once thought of how hard I've been trying just to get by. But I told you I'd accept you as my sister-in-law. I have done everything I can to make peace. Why can't you just accept that? Forget it. I've realized there's no point in talking to you. You're not staying here anymore. I've made up my mind. You're going to leave, no questions asked. You can't just throw me out. I've been accepted as part of this family. What is wrong with you? No, this is my house. I've had enough of you thinking you have some sort of right to stay here and act like this is your place. You're nothing but a freeloader at this point. What? You're still saying that? You must be really dumb. This is my parents' house and my brother's house. You, the outsider, should not be acting like you own the place. That's where you're wrong from the start. What? I bought this house. It's in my name. It's mine. What? You're lying, aren't you? I'm not lying. It's the truth. And that's why I have the right to kick you out. You're not welcome here anymore. You were just living under my roof by my generosity. But even if that's true, there's no way my brother or my parents would let you do this. They wouldn't agree to throwing me out of the house. The discussion has already been had. Samuel, my parents, they all agreed to this. Everyone is on my side. No way. This can't be happening. Where are you right now? Huh? Why does it matter to you? Maybe you're at a hot spring inn right now? Huh? How do you know that? Didn't Samuel tell you? He said that I've been working really hard lately, so he suggested I take a break and relax a little. He even gave me some spending money. It's been really nice to take some time off and recharge. Well, yeah, but doesn't it seem a little strange? You've never worked hard enough to deserve a break, so why would he suddenly tell you to go relax? You're not fooling anyone. What are you trying to say? I'm the one who planned all of this. I'm packing up all your things into boxes right now. I'm changing the locks on the doors so when you come back, you won't have a home to return to. I've already taken care of everything. What? I don't owe you anything, okay? There's no obligation to support someone like you anymore. You made your bed, now lie in it. What is that girl really doing?
I really am sorry.
There's no need for you to apologize. She's already 30 years old, you know.
But she's my sister.
Just because she's your sister doesn't mean you should feel responsible. You're the one who's sane here. It's not like your father and mother raised her poorly. It's all just because of her own character. She's the one at fault.
You really speak so bluntly.
That's just the truth. Still, it's really like she's making a fool of herself. She posted my salary slip and caused a mini scandal, right? And then she started saying things like mocking people with low incomes, and then all her past discriminatory comments got dug up too.
Yeah.
She should have just deleted her account or apologized, but instead, all she did was make excuses and shift the blame onto others. And then at the end, she started claiming that she had been harassed by me every day. It was filled with contradictions, and the lies were exposed immediately. When people pointed them out, she snapped and started playing the victim. Before long, her personal information got exposed and it turned into a massive online firestorm. And to top it all off, I even got caught in the crossfire. At one point, it was so absurd that it actually started to seem kind of funny.
Not funny.
Well, I can't just keep finding it amusing, can I?
Of course not.
Now it's even starting to affect my work. I'm so sorry, Samuel.
Huh?
At this point, I can't hold back anymore. Hey, what the hell have you done? What do you mean? What do I mean? What's going on here? What's this essay you wrote? Oh, you mean the one about my sister-in-law? Yeah, I was just as surprised as you when it blew up like that. I honestly didn't expect it to get so much attention, but, well, someone else had already started a huge scandal, so I guess that helped my piece get more visibility. So this is about me, isn't it? Yeah, of course it's about you. This is so awful. I can't believe you wrote something like this about me. You made me look like a fool, exaggerating everything, making it seem so much worse than it is. How could you do that? Exaggerating? How? What exactly did I exaggerate? What do you mean, what? You've made me out to be some kind of ridiculous joke. It's so over the top. No, I just wrote the truth. I didn't exaggerate anything. I wrote about you cheating, getting a divorce, showing up at my house, doing nothing but acting all high and mighty, even though you weren't helping with anything. I keep a diary every day, so everything I wrote is just facts. If that makes you look bad, it's because you're the one acting like that in real life. If you think that's an exaggeration, maybe it's because you've been acting like a fool this whole time. Shut up, you! Well, looks like you're the laughingstock of the entire country now. Bet you're glad you're famous now, huh? You should be thanking me for that. You think you can just get away with this? I am suing you! You're not getting away with this! I don't care. Go ahead and sue me. What are you going to do? Wait, hold on. What is this? Are you trying to act tough or something? If you sue me, I never revealed your real name in the essay. It was just an anonymous piece. And I didn't put out any personal information that could identify you, so I don't see how this could be a privacy violation. If you think I've done something wrong, you'd have to prove it. But it's gotten so bad now. Everyone knows who I am. People have been making so many mean comments mocking me. Well, that's because you went ahead and started that massive scandal yourself. You lied about things, revealed personal details, and started throwing around accusations. You got caught up in your own mess, and now it's your fault. This is all you're doing. You caused it. It's not a lie. You treated me terribly. I had to expose you for everything you did to me. What's wrong with that? You're the one who hurt me, so it's only fair that your name should be exposed too. Fine, whatever. The truth about all of this will come out soon enough, so I'm not even worried about it. What do you mean? What are you talking about? I'm suing you for defamation. I'm going to make sure everyone knows what you did to me. Wait a minute, hold on. You don't have to take it that far. Excuse me? Weren't you the one who said you'd definitely sue me no matter what? Now you're backing down? Was that just a threat? Because guess what? That's a criminal offense, you know. Threatening someone like that is actually against the law. And let's not forget the personal belongings you threw away. I'm going to sue you for that too. You're going to pay for what you did. What? Personal belongings? I just threw out some trash, that's all. Really? Well, that's up for the court to decide, isn't it? You're insane. What value is there in those things? Those old, worn-out books and stuff, you really think that has any worth? You just don't understand, do you? What do you mean I don't understand? The so-called worn-out books you're talking about, those are rare editions. Rare editions? Yes, rare books. They're not just some random books. They're hard to find. They're valuable, almost like antiques. Book antiques? Yeah, some of those books were worth tens of thousands. Tens of thousands for those old things? Yes, it's true. Those books were worth a lot more than you think. Wait, how much would the damages be then? How much are you asking for? Well, it's hard to say, but I'm guessing around 200,000. 200,000? Oh, that's way less than I thought it would be. Maybe I could manage that. Yeah, that's in euros, though. 2,000 euros? Oh, there's no way I could afford that. Well, you've been mocking people who have low income, so I'm sure you're making a lot of money, right? You must be making a lot of money since you're so quick to judge people. If that's the case, paying me back should be a piece of cake, should it not? Wait a minute. I'm really sorry, Christine. I was wrong. I admit it. Please just stop. Stop? Why should I stop? I'm just getting started. And by the way, don't call me by my name like that. Huh? Do you know how disgusting it is when you act so familiar with me? It lowers my value when you get too comfortable with me. I don't want you to reduce my worth by acting like we're on some friendly terms. Christine, I am truly sorry. I was in the wrong. I regret everything I did. I can't believe I let myself do something like that. I am so sorry. Please, I beg you. I have been working so hard, but no matter how much I earn, my alimony and compensation fees take everything. I'm barely able to make ends meet. Please, Christine, can you help me? I don't care. What? What do you mean you don't care? Do you seriously think I'm going to help you after everything you've done? You've got some nerve. Work harder, useless. How can you say such cruel things? How can you be so heartless? You're a monster. That's rich coming from you. You said exactly the same to me, remember? What? I never said anything like that. Oh, really? It's all in the records. I've got it right here. Oh, I'm really sorry. I truly regret my actions, and I can't express enough how much I've learned from this. If there's any way you could speak to my brothers and get them to help me. No. What? Why? Why won't you help me after everything I've been through? I am suffering. This is so hard. Do you have any idea how it feels to be constantly humiliated just because my personal information got leaked? Everywhere I go, people make fun of me. You think I care? How can you say that after everything I've done for you? How could you leave me like this? Do you not have any compassion for me at all? Of course not. What? You are trash, so it's obvious you'll be thrown out. What else do you expect? I am begging you, please don't say such things. I am desperate. And what exactly did you expect from me? Did you think that I would just let you walk all over me? No, you need to face the consequences for what you've done. You've made your bed, now lie in it. Don't come to me looking for sympathy. I don't deserve this. It's funny how you think you're the victim, but look at everything you've put me through. You've ruined everything for me, and now you think I should just help you out of the mess you've made? You are delusional. Please, please just think of all the times I was there for you. You were there for me? Oh, don't make me laugh. The essay titled My Sister-in-Law was an unexpected and extraordinary hit. When I first wrote it, I had no idea it would become such a massive success. In fact, it was originally something very personal and deeply cathartic, a way for me to deal with the complex and painful relationship I had with my sister-in-law. Over the years, our relationship had been strained, filled with misunderstandings and hurt, and I simply needed an outlet to express the frustrations that had built up within me. Writing it was, in many ways, an attempt at healing, a means to make sense of the feelings I had toward her and the conflict that had clouded our family dynamic. What I didn't expect was that the essay would strike a powerful chord with others. It was, in many ways, a form of emotional release for me. But as I started to share it with a small circle of friends, I quickly realized that the emotions I had experienced, the sense of betrayal, the frustration, the anger, were not unique to me. There were others who had similar struggles with family members, and the response I received was overwhelming. People were opening up to me about their own personal stories, and it became evident that I wasn't alone in feeling this way. The more I shared, the more people reached out to say they understood and that they too had experienced this kind of familial tension. At first, I thought this essay might attract a few readers, people who could relate to my situation, but the response was much more massive than I could have ever anticipated. The essay quickly became a sensation, gaining traction in online forums and social media platforms. As the shares and comments poured in, I realized what had started as an intensely personal reflection was now something bigger. A conversation about family dynamics, the complexity of relationships, and the difficult choices people make. It wasn't just my story anymore, it had become everyone's story. People from all walks of life were reaching out to share their own experiences and to express how my words had resonated with them. It was both humbling and surreal. As the essay continued to grow in popularity, it wasn't long before a publisher approached me with the idea of turning it into a book. I was hesitant at first. This was still such a personal story, and I wasn't sure I wanted to make it even more public. But after some thought, I decided to move forward with it. After all, the response to the essay had been overwhelming, and it seemed as though there was a genuine desire for more. So we took the next step, and the essay was officially turned into a book. To my astonishment, the book quickly became a commercial success. I had no idea that the story I had written from the heart would sell over 100,000 copies. The numbers were staggering, and every time I saw the sales figures, I was overwhelmed with disbelief. I never imagined that something so intimate, something born out of my own personal struggles, would find such a broad audience. But the book didn't just resonate with readers in a general sense, it was deeply personal for so many people. As I heard from readers, it was clear that the themes of betrayal, family, and personal growth were universal, and that my experience had somehow mirrored the experiences of so many others. The book wasn't just a success, it had become a voice for people who felt silenced by the complexities of their own familial relationships. What followed was even more unexpected. The book was adapted into a manga. At first, I was unsure how my words would translate into illustrations. After all, the essay was primarily about my own personal journey, and I wasn't sure how an artist could capture that essence. But when the first drafts of the manga came in, I was stunned. The characters, my own thoughts and feelings were brought to life in a completely new way. It was as if the emotional weight of the words had been translated into something even more powerful. The illustrations conveyed the subtle nuances of the story in a way I had never imagined. The emotions I had tried to communicate through words were now expressed through the faces, the body language, and the visual details of the characters. The manga adaptation brought a new layer of depth to the story, and the readers who had already loved the book found themselves captivated by this new version of the story. The manga's success was undeniable. Fans of the book flocked to it, and it soon became a sensation in its own right. I was once again amazed by the level of engagement from readers. The manga wasn't just a visual representation of the book, it was an experience in and of itself. The characters became more than just names on a page. They took on new dimensions, and readers connected with them in a way that was deeply emotional. It seemed that the manga had struck a chord with even more people than the book had, reaching a broader audience and evoking a powerful emotional response. But that wasn't the end of the journey. The success of the essay, the book, and the manga led to a television adaptation of the story. Seeing my own experiences and emotions portrayed on screen was an entirely new challenge, and I wasn't sure what to expect. The drama series took the essence of the book and adapted it for the screen. There were changes, of course, as any adaptation would require, but the core themes remained intact. Watching the actors bring my story to life was both surreal and emotional. Seeing my own words, which had once been private and personal, now played out on the screen by talented actors, made the story feel larger than life. The characters seemed to come alive in a way that I couldn't have imagined. The raw emotions I had written about were brought to the forefront by the actors' performances, and the story resonated with viewers in a powerful way. The drama series became a massive success, attracting a wide viewership and receiving critical acclaim. It wasn't long before the show was trending, with fans across the country praising its emotional depth and powerful storytelling. The feedback was overwhelmingly positive, with many viewers sharing how the show had deeply impacted them. The story had touched something deep within them, and the characters had come to represent their own struggles with family, relationships, and personal growth. Drama wasn't just entertainment, it was a mirror reflecting the complexity of human emotions. The success of drama brought it with a new wave of recognition, and the story continued to gain momentum. It was no longer just a book or a manga, it had become a part of the cultural conversation. With the success of the book, manga, and television series, and financial rewards started to flow in. The royalties from each adaptation were substantial, and soon my family and I found ourselves living a much more comfortable life. I had always dreamed of a future where financial worries were no longer a burden, where we could live without the constant stress of making ends meet. And suddenly that dream was a reality. We were able to afford things we had never imagined before. Vacations, a nicer home, better opportunities for our children. Money no longer seemed like an obstacle. It was as though the financial struggles that had always weighed us down had disappeared, replaced by a new sense of security and freedom. But even as the money poured in and our lives became more comfortable, I couldn't help but think about my sister-in-law. What had happened to her? Where was she now in the aftermath of all this success? I had made it clear that I couldn't help her with her debts, that the money I was now receiving wasn't going to fix the choices she had made. But what did that mean for her? Has she found a way out of the financial hole she dug for herself, or was she still trapped in the same cycle of debt and hardship? The messages from her started to come again, though they were fewer and more desperate than before. She continued to ask for help, though it was clear from the tone of her messages that she no longer believed she could solve her own problems. The desperation in her words was palpable, but I couldn't and wouldn't offer her anything more. The years of giving her second chances, the repeated attempts to offer help, had only resulted in disappointment. She had refused the help when it was offered, and now she was reaping the consequences of her actions. Eventually, the messages stopped. I wasn't sure if it was because she'd given up or because she had finally realized that there was no help coming. Either way, it marked the end of that chapter in our lives, and I couldn't help but wonder how things had turned out for her. But at the same time, I knew that I had done everything I could, and there was nothing more to give. Meanwhile, her life had become a constant struggle. She worked multiple jobs, often from early morning until late at night, but her debts were so overwhelming that it didn't matter how hard she worked, she couldn't keep up. Her wages were garnished to pay off the restitution, and no matter how many hours she put in, she was always in the red. She lived in a cheap, run-down apartment, surviving on discounted food and the bare minimum. Every day was a battle for survival, and the more she worked, the further behind she fell. It seemed like there was no escape. As the months passed, the reality of her situation became clear. She would be in debt for the next 20 years, at the very least. 2 decades of constant toil just to make ends meet. Even if she worked non-stop, she would never catch up. The future was bleak and the cycle seemed unbreakable. For all her hard work, for all her sacrifices, she was no closer to escaping than she had been when the debts first started piling up. The contrast between our lives, between her struggle and the newfound stability and comfort of my family, was staggering. There was no justice in it, no simple explanation for how things had turned out this way, but I knew one thing for certain. She had made choices, and those choices had consequences. I had done my best to help her, to offer her a way out, but in the end, it was her decision, her actions, that had led her to this point. AJ, are you going to be late tonight?
Yeah, I'll have to stay late at work. Is there something wrong?
No, it's just we're moving into a new house soon, right? I thought we should start preparing.
That's true. A new life and a new home is about to begin.
Yes, it's exciting.
By the way, there's something I need to tell you.
Oh, what is it?
I've decided to have my parents live with us in the house you bought. I thought it would be a good arrangement.
Wait, what? What do you mean?
I mean the house you bought, right? Well, I decided my parents will live there too.
Hold on a second, this wasn't part of the plan.
Plan? What plan?
The reason I saved for 10 years to buy that house was so I could live there with my mom. I've always told you that. You knew that my mother has been on her own since I was young. I wanted her to be with me once I got married so she wouldn't feel lonely. I thought you understood that.
Understood? I don't remember agreeing to that. I just listened to you talk about it.
Then why are you doing this without telling me? I bought that house with my own money.
Why does it matter? My family has their own reasons for this.
What reasons? Why can't they stay in their own house?
Because the old house is in such poor condition they can't live there anymore. As the eldest son, it's my responsibility to look after my parents. Isn't that something that should be clear?
But even so, you should have at least talked to me before deciding. How could you just make a decision without my input?
Look, my parents and I have always been close. I can't just ignore them when they're in trouble.
That doesn't make it right. My mother and I are close too. If your parents are moving in, don't you think you should contribute financially too?
We're married, aren't we? We're supposed to support each other.
Well, yes, but...
It's already done. I've sent their belongings over, so you might as well give it up. Make sure to clear a room for them.
But your parents have successful jobs, right? If their house is old, can't they afford to fix it themselves?
They're getting old, okay? It makes more sense for them to stay with us as they age. Why don't you understand that?
And why don't you understand that my mother needs the same support?
Enough. This is already decided. I bought a house, and I've already had my parents' things sent over. It's done. You're being difficult about it, and it won't change anything now.
I can't believe this. Mom, are you free to talk now?
Yes, I'm free, dear. Oh, thank you so much for sending the photos of the new house. It's absolutely stunning. I can hardly believe it. You bought such a beautiful home all by yourself. You've always made me proud, but seeing what you've accomplished now makes me feel even prouder. You're an amazing daughter.
Mom, you're embarrassing me. I really don't think it's that big of a deal. Honestly, I just did what anyone else would do.
No, it's truly impressive, believe me. This isn't something everyone can accomplish, and you know it. To buy a house at your age, and as a woman doing it all on her own, it's no small feat. Most people could only dream of doing what you've done.
I suppose so. But I just wanted to do something to give back to you for everything you've done for me. After all, you raised me on your own, and you did it without ever complaining. You worked so hard to make sure I had a good life, and you sacrificed so much for me along the way. So if I could do this much for you, it would feel like a small way to thank you for everything.
Oh, sweetheart, you've never needed to think that way. There's no need to repay me for raising you. I did it because I wanted to, out of love. I never expected anything in return, so don't feel pressured. Raising you was one of the greatest joys of my life. I'm sure your in-laws will also be thrilled to know that you've accomplished something so big. They must be so proud of you, too.
Actually, about that, there's been a bit of a complication.
Oh no, what's wrong? Is something serious going on?
Well, you know how we'd planned for you to come live with me in the new house? You and I discussed it so many times, and it seemed like a perfect setup.
Yes, of course. That was the plan we had in mind all along, wasn't it?
Yes, but it seems like that plan may not happen now.
What? Wait, what do you mean? Oh, don't tell me that you're saying you can't live in the house after all, even though it's all set up and ready.
No, not exactly that. The issue is that AJ decided, without consulting me, that we'll be living with his parents instead. I had no idea he was planning this. He just suddenly made the decision.
Hold on a moment. What do you mean, all on his own? I thought this was your house, bought with your own money, and we'd already made our plans for you and me to live together. Didn't you two talk this all through beforehand?
Yes, exactly. But just recently, right before we were supposed to move, he told me that he wants his parents to come live with us instead. He even went so far as to send their belongings over to the new house without saying a word to me. Now he's acting like it's too late to do anything about it.
I mean, I'm all right on my own. I don't want you to feel guilty about that. But still, it's not right for AJ to just dismiss your wishes, especially after everything we discussed. This just doesn't sound like the AJ I know. What on earth has gotten into him?
I know, Mom. I feel exactly the same way. This isn't like him at all. He used to be so considerate, so thoughtful. He's never done something like this before. It's like he's become a different person all of a sudden. He used to have such a gentle, caring nature.
Well, I suppose there's not much to be done. It's an issue between you two as a couple, so maybe it's not my place to step in. I wouldn't want to cause any unnecessary trouble in your marriage.
No, Mom, please don't give up on the idea just yet. I haven't fully accepted things as they are either.
Really? Do you think there's still a way to work things out?
Yes, I think so. I've been thinking things through, and I have some ideas about how to handle this. I still want you to be a part of my life, even if this situation is a bit difficult. I'm sure we can figure something out, so don't worry. Hey, AJ, I need to talk to you for a moment.
What now, Miranda? I told you, I'm really busy with a lot of things right now. Can't it wait?
I'm sorry, but this is important to me, so please just hear me out, even if it's just for a little bit. I wanted to talk about your parents moving in. Isn't there any way to reconsider that plan? You know how much I want to live with my mom. She raised me on her own as a single mother, and she's the most important person in my life. She's someone I want to be there for now. I want to give back to her for everything she's done for me.
Miranda, we already discussed this before, didn't we? It's just not going to happen. I thought I'd made that clear.
No, AJ, I still don't understand. I don't think I'll ever understand how you could make such a decision on your own. For years, I've been saving and planning so I could live with my mom. I worked hard with this idea in mind, and now it feels like all of that effort is for nothing.
Listen to me, Miranda. Try to look at this from a practical perspective. Isn't your mom working part-time right now?
Yes, that's true. She's doing what she can to support herself, and she's still working, even if it's just part-time.
And as you know, my father is a wealthy businessman. He's done well for himself, and our family benefits from that. Isn't it obvious which situation is more beneficial for us? Who do you think we should be prioritizing?
What? What do you mean by that?
Come on, Miranda. Think rationally about this. Who should we value more? My parents are clearly the more important ones. I mean, my father is a successful man with money. If I continue to show respect and build good relations with him now, it could affect how much I inherit in the future. Think about it. If we make the right moves, our future could be financially secure because of this. Doesn't that matter to you?
Wait, AJ, I can't believe what I'm hearing right now. Are you really saying this? Is this the real reason you want your parents to move in with us?
Yes, Miranda. And if we're comparing the value they bring to our lives, wouldn't a wealthy father be more beneficial than someone who just works part-time?
No, AJ, that's enough. Don't disrespect my mother that way. I won't stand for you belittling my family. Just because my mother doesn't have wealth or a powerful career doesn't make her less valuable as a person.
I'm not trying to insult her, Miranda. I'm simply stating the reality of her situation. This isn't about emotions. It's about what's best for us as a couple. I'm looking out for our future together. Can't you see that?
I don't want to understand a mindset like that. Wealth and titles mean nothing to me if it means disrespecting my mother. My mom is the most important person to me in this world, and I don't need you judging her worth based on something as shallow as money.
I honestly didn't think you'd be so naive, Miranda. I thought you'd be smart enough to see the bigger picture here. But fine, if you're going to cling to these ideas, go ahead. Doesn't change anything. No matter what you say or feel about it, my parents are moving in. The decision has been made, and there's nothing you can do to change it.
I see. Well, I understand perfectly now. I see exactly where your priorities are and what you're trying to achieve.
Good. I'm glad you finally get it. Let's drop this discussion once and for all. There's no reason to bring it up again.
Fine. If that's how you want it, I'll make my own decisions accordingly.
Good. That's what I want to hear. Finally, we can move on from this ridiculous argument.
Oh, believe me, we will. Just remember this, you'd better not regret the choices you're making right now. Don't come back to me later saying things turned out differently than you expected.
Miranda, don't forget, today is the moving day. I need you to go to the new house ahead of time and get everything ready to welcome my parents. Make sure all the unpacking is done and everything is set up.
Wait, you want me to do all of that?
Of course, you're the one with the keys to the house after all.
So, what about you? What are you going to be doing while I'm setting everything up?
I'll be picking up my parents and driving them over. I'm taking them out to eat first, spending some time together as a family before we all move in. By the time we get to the house, I expect everything to be ready so that they can start living here right away without any hassles.
Okay, I'll try my best to get things done before you arrive.
Trying your best isn't enough. I need you to do everything perfectly. Once we're all living together, I'll also need you to take care of my parents' needs. That means helping out with anything they need day to day.
What? Why should I be the one taking care of everything for them?
Why do you think? You're the one handling all the household chores already. This isn't anything new.
Isn't your mom going to help out? She could do her part too, right?
Are you seriously suggesting that? You expect my mother at her age to be doing household work? That's a terrible attitude to have.
But your mom's only around 60, right? She's definitely capable of doing some of the chores.
I told you, you're the one who's supposed to do it.
Fine, I understand. I'll do what I can.
Hey, Miranda, what is going on here?
What are you talking about? What's wrong now?
Our house has been listed for sale. How did this happen? Did the real estate agent trick you into something? Tell me, where are you right now?
I've already moved out, so it's fine now.
Wait, what do you mean you moved out? Are you talking about the place where we were living in before?
No, that's not what I mean. I'm saying I've already moved out of that house, so you don't need to worry about it. We haven't been deceived or anything like that.
Then what the hell is going on? Didn't you buy the house?
I did buy it, but I sold it right away.
What do you mean you sold it? You paid the down payment, didn't you? There should still be a mortgage left to pay. How can you just sell it like that?
Yes, I did pay the down payment, but left without paying anything more. I sold the house without ever making another payment.
Why on earth would you do something like that? Why make such a rash decision?
Well, hold on a second. You made a decision without consulting me, didn't you? You decided to live with your parents and shipped your things over without asking me first. You don't get to tell me what I should or shouldn't do with the house I bought.
What are you talking about? I did that for my parents. It wasn't just about me, it was for their sake.
I've been talking about wanting to live with my mom for 10 years, but did you listen to me? No, you just decided everything without asking me. You sent your stuff over without even telling me. And now you're telling me I'm in the wrong?
Okay, but what about the things you packed up? What did you do with all that stuff? You can't just leave it hanging.
Don't worry about it. I explained the situation to the movers, and they're holding everything for us until we figure it out. You can go pick everything up later. It's all handled.
Hanging? How could you do something so reckless and unnecessary? What about the mortgage? What are we going to do about that now?
Well, I was planning to pay it off myself, but it looks like the house is worth more than I thought. The area's become pretty popular, and the real estate agent said I don't have to pay much more on the mortgage because I'll be able to sell it for a good price, so it's fine.
Don't worry? How can you say that? This is a huge issue. Did you even talk to your mother about this? Did she know about all this?
What do you mean? What's your point?
The whole reason you bought that house was so you and your mother could live together, wasn't it? You've completely turned that idea on its head. And now you sold it without even consulting her.
How dare you say that? You were the one who ruined that plan, not me. You're the one who stopped it from happening, not me.
I'm going to tell your mother about this. What are you going to do if she ends up hating you for this? Do you have any idea how many people's feelings you've hurt with what you've done?
I haven't hurt anyone. It's you who's been the one hurting people, not me. You have made a mess of everything.
So, what do you think your mother will say about all this?
I'm sure she'll understand. At least I hope she will. I did this for a good reason, and I'm sure she'll get it.
Well, I'm definitely going to report this to your mother. And I'm sure she'll be giving me a call as soon as she hears about this. After that, we'll have to have another conversation. I'll make sure to stop the sale of the house, and we'll figure this out properly.
Go ahead, do whatever you want. I have got plenty of other things to deal with myself. I'm not going to just sit here and listen to you.
You really think you can just walk away from all of this? You can't just ignore the situation and expect everything to be fine. You've made decisions without thinking about the consequences, and now you're going to have to face them.
I've thought this through. You're the one who's making things more complicated by always thinking you can control everything. You didn't even bother to consult me, but now you want to tell me what I should have done?
I did this for our future, for our family's future. You should have considered that before you made such a huge decision on your own. Do you really think everything is going to work out without any issues?
I've made my decisions, AJ, and I am not going to change them now. It's time for you to face the consequences of your own choices, just like I've had to do.
You know what? Fine. But don't come crying to me when things fall apart. I'm telling you, you're making a huge mistake.
Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. But I'll deal with it. I've always dealt with things on my own.
Abby, something terrible has happened.
Oh no, what's going on?
You know how Miranda was supposed to have bought a house, right?
Yes, that's right.
Right? Well, she went and sold that house without telling anyone. This means our plans to live together now are off the table.
What? But we never actually had those plans, did we? I heard from Miranda that you were planning to live with your parents instead.
Yes, well, that's true. It's just that my parents' house was getting really old and they were going to tear it down, so I agreed to move in with them temporarily while that happened.
Oh, but Miranda didn't like that arrangement, so she sold the house, right?
No, that's not it. She was actually okay with living with my parents, at least up until today.
But the house she bought was for her to live in with me. Do you really think she would have just accepted the situation so easily?
Hey, that's where we differ.
What do you mean?
Living with my parents is only temporary. It's just while they rebuild their house. I only asked if I could stay there until then, just for that period, and nothing more.
I see.
That's right, but now she's doing something like this to cause trouble. Abby, you have to scold her. Tell her to stop the sale immediately.
You think I'll do that? Of course not.
Immediately. Why not, Abby?
What do you mean by temporary? Do you think you can fool me with that kind of lie? The reason she sold the house is because she didn't like your forceful approach. Do you think I didn't notice? Don't treat me like a fool.
No, that's not it. You see, she's always had a bit of an issue with my parents, like she's always looked down on them.
That's not true at all. Why would she create an asset for people she looks down on?
Asset? What are you talking about?
She was saving money for me and investing in a way that would help your parents as well.
Wait, What?
She sacrificed her personal life just to build up that kind of money. How could someone like her want to cause trouble? Miranda is a kind-hearted person who values family above everything else. Please stop putting her through all of this with your strange lies.
No. Abby.
And stop calling me Abby. It's extremely annoying.
That old hag. She won't listen to a word I say.
I haven't heard from your mother. Seems like things didn't go as planned, huh?
Hey! Shut up! I don't have anywhere to live now. Do you understand? I'm in complete panic mode right now, and you're making it worse by mocking me.
Well, you kind of brought this upon yourself, didn't you?
Damn it. What am I supposed to do now? How did everything fall apart so quickly?
I don't know, but now that we're divorced, it doesn't matter. You'll probably be hearing from the lawyer I hired soon. When that happens, you'll need to handle it.
Divorce? You're seriously doing this? You're taking it way too far. You're freaking out for no reason.
Do you really think I'm just saying I want a divorce because of a moment of anger?
I'll admit that I've made some mistakes. I've messed up. But please, don't talk about divorce. We don't need to go that far. Not over this.
The reason for the divorce isn't just that.
What else is there? What could be worse than what's already happened? I honestly didn't think you would do something so selfish, something so thoughtless. This kind of behavior, it's just unbelievable. I know I made a mistake. I get it. When it comes to family, I can be so caught up in everything that I lose sight of what's really important. But that doesn't mean we need to end it all.
No, that's not what's going on here. You secretly racked up a huge debt without telling me, didn't you? You just kept it from me.
Huh?
You've been gambling, haven't you? That's what this is about. You got yourself into some serious trouble, and you thought that by living off your parents, you could use their money to pay off your debts, right? You thought you could take advantage of them for all of it, and you're 38 years old. You've been acting like a little kid asking your parents to bail you out. It's pathetic. I don't know why I put up with it for so long.
No, that's not true. What on earth are you talking about?
Don't try to hide it now. You're not going to get away with it. I hired a detective, okay? I've done the research. I know everything, and I'm not going to ignore this. I cannot continue being married to someone who hides things like this. You have put us in so much debt, and now you think we can just go back to normal? That is not going to happen, so divorce it is.
Are you serious?
Yes, I am.
Well, if that's the way it is, then fine. Go ahead and file for divorce. It's not like I care anymore. I stayed with you because you promised you'd buy a house, and now you're pulling this? Whatever. I'll find someone better, a better woman. I'll get remarried. It's no problem for me.
Well, I'm glad to see you're happy. It's really nice to know that this is what you wanted all along.
From now on, I'll have all of my parents' money to myself. Everything. Their fortune, the house, all of it. I'll make sure I'm set for life. But don't even think about trying to contact me after this. Got it?
Of course I won't be bothering you. But wait a minute. You're seriously planning to take everything, including their money?
Why wouldn't I? It's what I've been working for all this time. You don't get it, do you? I've been playing my cards right so I can walk away with everything.
You should really reconsider that.
What are you talking about? You think I'm joking? Don't say such ridiculous things. You're acting like I'm the one who doesn't get it.
Well, I'll tell you something you don't know. Your parents are in serious debt. They're in so much trouble right now that if things don't change, you'll inherit all of that. All of their debt. All of it.
What? What the hell are you talking about?
I thought something was off, honestly. They said they sold the house because it was old, but I wondered if it was really that simple. You said they moved to a new place because of how old the house was, right? But that house, it wasn't even that old, and your parents' house was huge. So why would they just sell everything and get out?
Well, yeah, it was a big house. But I figured a new house would be better for them. Easier to maintain, you know? More comfortable.
That's not what's going on. It wasn't like the house was completely falling apart. It wasn't a situation where they had to sell it. Your father could have easily renovated it, or they could have made it work. But instead they sold everything. I couldn't understand why. So I had the detective look into it. Turns out your father made a huge mistake in his business dealings. He's buried in debt.
No way. You're just making things up. This can't be true.
Serious debt. Why don't you ask your father? I'm sure he'll confirm everything I'm saying.
Why the hell didn't he tell me about any of this?
Well, it's the same thing as you. You didn't tell me you were living with him and trying to get him to pay off your debts, right? You just did it behind my back. Maybe that's where you got your attitude from, huh? You really are just like your father.
That bastard. He lied to me.
Well, you're the one who's been living in denial, not me. As for me, I've already made arrangements. I rented an apartment and I'm moving in with my mom. I'm busy right now with the move, so don't try to reach out to me.
Wait, Miranda, please, don't leave me. I don't want this.
What? What are you saying?
I've always been thinking about you, Miranda. Everything I've done for you. Even agreeing to live with my parents was for you. Please, reconsider the divorce. Don't do this to us.
Calm down and think for a second.
What are you trying to say?
My mother raised me on her own from the time I was a child, and you thought nothing of abandoning her and trying to bring your parents into our lives while ignoring her, and then you racked up this huge debt. It's really simple. It's clear who I need to take care of.
Hey. No, I didn't.
I'm going to take care of my own family. The people who actually care about me. You've made your bed and now you're going to have to lie in it. As for what happens to you and your family, I don't have the slightest bit of interest anymore. Do whatever you want with your own mess, but I'm out of it. Mom, I'll be there soon, so I'm counting on you.
Yes, I understand. I've been preparing for a while now. But from here on, things are going to get difficult. There's going to be a lot of paperwork and procedures to go through, isn't there?
It's not a problem at all. What I'm really looking forward to is being able to live with you from now on. Plus, as for the divorce, I've already handed everything over to my lawyer.
Really? Well, if that's the case, then I guess it's fine.
Yeah, once we finish the move, let's have pizza together.
Oh, that sounds like fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
After that, Ajay tried desperately to rely on his siblings, hoping that one of them would agree to take in his parents. He was overwhelmed by the enormity of the situation and felt that surely one of his brothers or sisters would lend a helping hand. They had all grown up together, and Ajay had always thought that family would come through for each other, especially in times of hardship. However, his hope turned to disappointment when none of his siblings were willing to take on the responsibility. The situation was complicated, though. By this point, I had already explained in detail the full history of our marriage, including the reasons that led to the divorce. I made sure to explain everything clearly to his family, letting them understand the reasons for the separation and the dynamics involved. I told them about the debts, the constant tension in our relationship, and the financial struggles that had brought everything to this point. This level of transparency seemed to do the opposite of what Ajay had hoped. Rather than fostering understanding, it pushed his siblings further away. They felt no obligation to get involved and no sympathy for the situation Ajay had found himself in. It wasn't just about being asked to house his parents, it was about the lack of transparency from his parents themselves. As I found out, his parents had been hiding the extent of their financial problems for years. They had accumulated large debts that they had never shared with their children. What's worse, they had sold their family home to try to pay off these debts, leaving themselves with nowhere else to turn. The once stable home where Ajay had grown up was no longer theirs. His parents had been living in denial about their financial troubles, hoping that they could somehow keep up appearances, but it all came crashing down when they had to sell the house. It wasn't long before Ajay's siblings found out about these issues, and once they did, they had no intention of supporting his parents. Ajay's brothers and sisters couldn't believe what they were hearing. They had always assumed that their parents were financially secure, but now they saw the truth. Their parents had been struggling for years without saying a word. The entire situation left his siblings feeling betrayed. Why hadn't their parents been honest with them? Why didn't they reach out for help sooner? Instead of offering assistance, AJ's siblings decided to cut ties with his parents altogether, effectively severing any relationship with them. This left AJ with no choice but to take on the responsibility of caring for his parents by himself. With no other options available, AJ became the one to take charge. He decided to bring his parents into his home, but this proved to be a difficult decision. There was no easy way for him to care for them on his own. After all, AJ was already facing his own financial difficulties. The burden of taking care of two elderly parents while managing his own debts was more than he could handle. But there was no one else who would take them in, so he made the decision to move them into a small, inexpensive apartment. It wasn't ideal, but it was the only option available to him at the time. The living conditions in the apartment were far from comfortable. The apartment was cramped and wasn't really designed for 3 adults to live in, especially when those 3 people were already financially strapped. The space was small, with barely enough room for everyone to have their own privacy. The tension in the apartment was high, as AJ and his parents struggled to adjust to their new circumstances. With everyone living on top of each other, there was little room for peace or calm. AJ's parents weren't the only ones who were dealing with the financial issues. AJ himself was no stranger to financial strain. He had accumulated his own debts over the years, and the pressure to pay them off was only growing stronger. The debts weren't just a minor inconvenience either. These were significant amounts of money that he owed to various creditors, and the stress of it all weighed heavily on him. Now, with his parents living under his roof, AJ felt even more pressure to provide for them, but no matter how hard he worked, it never seemed to be enough. It wasn't just the debts that were causing issues either. There was a constant battle over money in the apartment. With 3 people living together and struggling financially, every penny counted. However, instead of helping each other, AJ and his parents found themselves fighting over who would pay what bills and how the money would be divided. It became a constant point of contention. AJ felt like he was the one shouldering most of the burden, while his parents seemed to be contributing very little. In turn, his parents resent him for not doing more to support them financially, creating even more tension in an already strained relationship. The atmosphere in the apartment was suffocating. Each day seemed to bring more arguments, more accusations, and more bitterness. The tension was palpable and the air was thick with resentment. AJ couldn't see a way out of it. Every day felt like a new battle, and he couldn't seem to find any peace or relief. Instead of coming together to support each other, his family was falling apart. There was no unity, no shared understanding of how to move forward. AJ's parents didn't want to admit that they had made mistakes, and AJ wasn't willing to accept responsibility for their financial troubles. Instead of working together to figure out a solution, they each became more entrenched in their own positions. This situation was a stark contrast to my own life. After everything that had happened, I had finally been able to start living with my mother, something I had wanted for years. I'd always been close to my mother, but circumstances had kept us apart for too long. Now, however, I was finally able to live with her, and it felt like a dream come true. It wasn't just about having a roof over my head, it was about the connection and the support that came with being with someone who loved me unconditionally. My mother and I had always had a strong bond, but now we had the chance to build an even deeper connection as we shared a home together. Living with my mother was a relief. It was peaceful, it was calm, and it felt like I was home again. The challenges that had weighed me down for so long had lifted, and I was able to relax for the first time in a long while. We spent time together enjoying each other's company and reminiscing about the good times we had shared. It was a simple life, but it was the kind of life I had always dreamed of having. And for the first time in a long while, I felt truly at peace. I had made plans with my mother to go on a hot spring trip together. It was something we had both wanted to do for years, and now we had the opportunity to make it a reality. The trip would give us a chance to unwind, enjoy each other's company, and make new memories. We both looked forward to it, knowing it would be a well-deserved break from the stresses of our daily lives. It was something we both needed, a time to reconnect and recharge. Looking at the situation, I couldn't help but feel a sense of relief that I was no longer caught up in the chaos of AJ's world. While AJ was struggling to maintain control of a situation that was quickly spiraling out of control, I was enjoying the peace and tranquility of my new life with my mother. The contrast between our lives was stark, and it made me appreciate the stability and support that I had found. I was able to move forward, to look ahead with hope, and to focus on the things that truly mattered in life. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.